Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the new era of the Club Racing UK podcast, vodcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. We've got another bumper show to you today, following on from the fantastic efforts in episode 2, where we covered the crucial rising costs of racing. And this episode is going to be primarily about one of the things that we also discussed in the previous episode, Arrive and Drives. Now, with me, as usual, it's the Giggle Twins. It's Stefan Marsh and Nick Holmes. How are we doing, guys?
Very well, you?
Evening, everyone.
And with me today, I've also got 3 superb guests. Once again, we just keep booking the good ones, don't we? We've got Carl Graves of Graves Motorsport. We've got Nick Jackson of NJM Racing. We've got Gary Mitchell of Gary Mitchell Performance. Apologies if you don't understand the lingo tonight. He is from quite far up north. Just to let you know.
I told you he talks funny.
How are we doing, guys? Welcome to the show.
Why, man.
Good.
Carl straight away has gone in for the advertisement and getting his Graves Motorsport in his name straight away.
Well, I thought that's how people would know who I was.
I don't think there's anyone. I don't think there's anyone in a club racing paddock around the country that doesn't know who you are, Carl. Don't worry about that.
If you believe it, I don't.
No, fair enough. I mean, to be fair, there is quite a big rumour that Carl is on first name terms with most of the stewards from most of the UK and mainland Europe.
That's only our drivers.
But we know who. You know who they called for the clerk of the course, don't they? Can the manager come and speak to me, please? Oh, God, it's me again.
Yeah, there was a rumour they were naming the steward suite at Brands Hatch Indy the Carl Graves suite, but I don't know. I'll assume we'll put that to one side. So, welcome everyone to the show. So, today's show is predominantly going to be talking about the benefits, the likes, the dislikes about Arrive and Drive. It was certainly something that was mentioned quite a lot on the run up to today's podcast. So I think we've got 3 of the best people to come on and talk about it, really. All 3 of you run Arrive and Drive yourselves. So certainly that. Right, so, but before that, we're going to get ourselves into the news and the race roundup.
A little bit of wee in the end of my knob.
Still never changes that one. It's just.
Do you know what? You say that. I was thinking about it this week. We've got to change that.
I do.
We're a new professional style of show now. just cut the end bit off.
Nick, you were eating pizza 5 minutes before you were due on air. It's hardly at the. You don't see that on Radio 1, do you?
You don't see anything on Radio 1, you dickhead. It's radio.
No, you still see it if you press the old red button and all that shit. You see him talking. Anyway, moving on.
Who does that?
Well, I certainly don't nowadays. Anyway,
I think that was 6 minutes into the show before I dropped a bomb. Whoops.
Sorry, Isla. Yes. If you don't realise as well, Nick is running a crash this evening. He's got little Isla with him as well, so he's got to be on his best behaviour. So if you can get your comments in, so we can give him as much abuse as possible. And
no, don't do that. That's a stupid idea. Best behaviour tonight for me.
We'll start off with some comments. Now the Facebook users are back.
Yay! Facebook users.
Yeah, another Facebook user. Hello, Facebook users.
There we go. Sam Pearce has joined us this evening as well. He's asked, Rob, Paul has asked if you've recovered from SNET. Not quite. The car really hasn't. I've had that in pieces. I went for a little test at Snetterton on the 300 circuit. Very productive. Got some good times out of the car and spilt a lot of oil onto the track and ball joints and such. The standard Ford, yeah. He also says, hi, boss. I assume that's to Carl.
Hello, Sam.
Right, one Facebook user. Oh, okay. James Peter Ennis is the Facebook user. He's just messaged.
Oh, wow.
He's just messaged. Oh, superb. Maxine Nichols joins us as well. Andrew Banthorpe as well with the Graves Motorsport trio. Carl, the fans are in tonight.
Everyone's in.
Everyone's in.
Everyone's in. I don't know who this guy's tied in with, but
Well, that's not a very nice comment, is it?
oh dear.
Bringing the banter to the comments.
Evening, Jamie. Good to see you. Ed Whitehouse joins us as well. Graves has done some amazing things recently. Lots of trophies and minis and carts. Are you on the payroll, Ed?
He's not. I think he wants to watch.
I think he does. Jonathan Bevan, we'll get round to you, Jonathan Bevan, because your car was absolutely immaculate on the Goodwood Hill climb. Absolutely immaculate. I know Nick was jizzing him
properly.
Yeah, jizzing his pants. Leon Gorham as well, watching this evening. And Shine Automotive sent their love. Now, we've just gone into the news and roundup. Unfortunately, chaps, we have to mention the sad events that took place on Sunday's race of the 4-hour Citroen C1 race. Unfortunately, we have lost a driver, Angela Lucas, bless her. I think it was her 6th race that she'd been in. I think she'd raced on the Saturday as well. That was a photo taken on the Saturday as well. She came in really happy, and unfortunately, she's then had a bad accident and lost her life on the Sunday. So it's not it's not something you come across very often, is it, chaps?
No, it's not. It's not something we should ever come across, really. Especially with the amount of work that goes into making motorsport as safe as possible. Obviously, some absolute freak accident has happened. Not what we wanted to hear when it started rolling out Sunday evening, Monday time. That was not good.
Shocking.
Yeah, really not good. Now, you can't really pull a positive from this, but the one thing that came from this that showed just how much everyone pulled together. You had most members of the C1 paddock offering their support to anyone that was struggling. And Amigo Motorsport issued a fundraiser. Now, they were only looking to raise £1,000. I checked it when I issued the script on Monday night. I haven't checked it since, so it could be even more. But it was at £6,590. That's superb.
That's brilliant.
And big up to everyone. And, of course, everyone at Club Racing UK, and all our condolences go out to Angela's family. The C1 Racing Club, I know they're absolutely gutted. Silver Lake and everyone involved.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible time. But the one thing that you can take from this, hopefully they'll publish a report we can find out what happened purely for the facts, so we can learn the lessons from it and make racing even better. That's the only way you can kind of look at it.
Yeah.
But, our condolences there. I also watched a bit of the TCR racing at Alton Park, and I noticed one thing. It had the VW Cup absolutely emblazed everywhere. It was all over the timing sheets. I did not see one VW Cup car. Do you reckon that's the last? Has it died, basically?
Well,
I think so.
After a turnout of four cars at Castle Combe, just don't know.
It doesn't look.
I think they may have found somewhere else to go racing.
You think so? I know there's a few gone endurance racing, but really,
I think the problem is it's the next step up from club level racing, isn't it? It's more national-ish racing. It's quite expensive, that series, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so.
I know a friend of the show, Ben Rushworth, was looking to get into it, wasn't he? With was it VW Polo, I think it was, and I remember him talking about it at the time when we had him on the show, and the prices were astronomical. I mean, not being funny, there's plenty of level racing, if not better racing out there for probably half the cost, less than that.
Well, especially if there's only 4 cars on the grid.
Wow, it's when you see someone jumping up and down for joy because they got a podium on a grid of 4 cars, there's a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, you drew some comparisons there, but the man directly below me, Carl Graves, let's look at an alternate to the VW Cup, the Mini Challenge. Okay, it's not going to be as quick as something in the Cooper class, but if you spend the money, take the money from a VW Cup run and go and spend it on the Cooper class, is it effectively going to be cheaper and you're going to be on telly?
I don't know what the VW cost is, to be honest, but a Cooper cost as a full arrive and drive is about 35 plus the VAT. And that is pretty much everything you need except any real damage. So we build in a bit of damage cost in there because we don't want to surprise anyone with anything like that. So I should imagine it's probably similar. And with the mini challenge in the Coopers this year, you've got 3 touring car rounds, 2 at Thruxton and 1 at Silverstone. So you've got three TV rounds. So yeah, it could be. I suppose the benefit of the TCR is if you want to, because it's with the TCRs, you've got a route up from there from the VWs as well, and being on the same grid. However, I think Alton is always one of those circuits, and even Castle Combe, that people don't travel to so much. So if you're not in it for the championship outright, people don't travel to Alton. I don't know why. We've been in series over the last 5, 6, 7 years. You get 22, 23 at Brands, similar sort of numbers at Snetterton. You go to Alton and you're lucky if you scrape 10. I can't tell you why. Because actually, it's one of the best.
It's such a pretty track. It's a really cool track, and yeah, it's a bit odd.
Well, to be fair, they lost one just before the weekend because I think it was Ollie. Well, they lost 2. So Jack Depper went up and he was in the TCR Golf, so he stayed on the grid, but he went to the big boys. And I think it was Ollie Taylor, the Samco Sport Golf with the wide arches. He pulled out a week to go, just saying, look, I've got a better opportunity elsewhere, which, to be honest, if there's only a grid of 4 cars you're playing with, you can't blame him.
Yeah, and I wonder personally whether that's why Jack stepped up into TCR. I know Stuart Lyons looks after that and runs the series quite well. So I'm wondering if he's then off, knowing that they've got 1, maybe 2 entries, that's gone and offered them the step up into TCR for a similar sort of money.
Yeah, and it'll be one of those things. Are we likely to see them back out again this year?
We'll keep an eye on it.
It's going to be there, isn't it? So you haven't got a full grid with a TCR side of it or TCT. So until that happens, the Volkswagens can just always add on to it.
They'll just bolster out the grid with whatever turns up, I suppose. Well, they did that at Combe, didn't they? You had the TCRs and the, as you say, the TCTs, and then 4 little VW Cup cars at the back. Bless them. Which is a shame, actually, because they're pretty cool cars. What you got, like the Scirocco's, the Golf R's, and the Polos and things like that. They're pretty cool racing cars.
And there is a lot out there, isn't there? Because it wasn't a few years ago that there was literally full grids on those.
Yeah. And
well, it was the path to Clio Cup and touring cars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Go that way.
Yeah, you're on the British GT package, live streaming. Channel 4 TV. Yeah. Sorry, Carl.
Well, I was going to say maybe with the Clio Cups, because as you say, it was the route you'd go VW and then Clios. Whether now the Mini Challenge JCW is the support series to be in with full grids. Then you've got the Coopers. People that would naturally go to the VW have now gone to the Minis.
I reckon that's probably quite a deciding factor towards it. To be fair,
probably helps. But I know Stuart's sort of doing obviously his best to make that into the step up into the TCR TCT area.
Yeah, 100%. Now you say about our friend of the show, Ben Rushworth. Good evening, Ben. Thank you for tuning in.
Wow, it's Mr. Rushworth. He's actually
there as well. He will appear.
Quite expensive. It's totally out of reach and incredibly poor value. Holding my punches and being diplomatic.
As always.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be like Bender. Yeah.
Exactly. I think this means in Teesside, evening Gary. Oh, who's got the...
Work never stops.
Gary on the telly.
Work never stops.
I was gonna say someone's broken the golden rule, but there we go.
Sarah Hall. Gary, you're on the telly.
It is Simon Court, ambassador, joins us. Evening, Simon, and we've got another Facebook user here as well. Ben Rushworth is Batman. If you are having problems getting your comments across and it's coming through as Facebook user, get yourself onto the Club Racing UK main page as well. We are also going out live on YouTube tonight, and then I guess we'll.
Also, we've got a shout out to where are we? Richard Hayward, Mark Bates, Sean Automotive, Mark Watts, Jonathan Bevan, and Lucia for all their comments and reactions so far. Loving that. Keep them coming, guys.
Keep
Fantastic.
coming.
Fantastic. Right, where were I?
Where
Anyway,
were I?
so where was I? So we move on to the classic and retro. I've basically taken a pick of quality racing from the past few weekends. AJ Owen and Gary Preble were at it again at Coombe. Look at that grid.
Oh,
So that was
Nice.
that was the 03s and pre-93s. And if that wasn't orgasmic enough, yeah, I've just had a crisis.
oh.
And again, so the Classic Touring Car Racing Club were out at it was the double weekender at Castle Coombe that they nicked off of MSV Swines, but they had a fantastic weekend as well. The Castle Coombe Championships.
Even if you'd gone to Castle Coombe again, you'd have broken down again.
That's a very good point, Nick. Let's not rub it in. But anyway, where's your race car?
Oh, it's in the shed about 5 miles down the road, actually. So yeah.
In other words, rusting. Hang on,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll move on from that quite quickly. And some of the other pick of the racing as well. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on Civic Cup as well because that grid is absolutely superb. It was a scorching weekend for those guys at Alton Park. I know Merv Beckett, he got a pair of wins in the production class, didn't he?
You did? Do you know what? I do like a Civic Type R.
Nick Holmes loves an EP3. You heard it here first. And the club enduro boys as well. They had a full grid of 50 cars at Snetterton.
It's insane. That is insane.
But guess what? Area Motorsport won it again.
They can build
Is
a car.
that because they own 49 of the cars on the grid?
Yeah.
No, it's because they
As we're talking about.
if you see Area's car, there's just the TCR car on the third row there.
Yeah.
They just, I think they've won literally every round for the past 2 years, from what I can gather.
Yeah, but as we mentioned, when you can buy when you've got such a broad spectrum on your rule sheet, you can rock up with a TCR car, can't you?
Yeah, true. And to be fair, the guys do.
Oh, they do an amazing job. Amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Holmes, I thought you fancied me. Didn't realise you just used me for my Civics.
See, who's that? Who's with the Facebook user? You need to put your name in.
Yeah, if you are, if
But
you are
you're
putting
right.
your
I
name down,
probably do fancy you. Who put the comment? Can you see it?
No, I can't.
Oh,
Bloody hell!
What's going on? He's lost it.
The comments are going nuts this evening. Oh, hang on, I've just had word through. It's Ben Griffiths.
oh yeah, definitely fancy him.
It's Ben Griffiths. Now, Sam Pearce has asked. He put why is the tar grid short? That's what I was also trying to work out as well. TCR grid short.
The tar. Oh dear. Fat farms, obviously.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's racing 750. Sam, you're going to have to elaborate on that, mate.
I think he's trying to be funny.
Carl Hitchens just joined us as well. I'm not sure what's going on here, but obviously, yeah. We'll just leave
Did
that
I
there,
miss
Carl.
much? I was having a poo.
I
Not
think we'll
really,
just
just
leave
a
that
bunch
as
of
well.
idiots yabbering away.
Just yeah, but back to the heat wave as well. I mean, looking at that stunning grid, I think there was about 10 of those cars that did drop off, and I did see as well. I haven't put the post up here tonight, but the Komodo Racing Mini, I have to give a shout out to them. They came off after 30 minutes, temperatures of 160, and they've discovered now that when they turn the engine over, water sprays out the turbo. So I think there might be an issue.
Wow. Well, it could be water cooled. You never know.
A water-cooled Mini? Steph, do they make those?
Ours isn't.
Not when you
Yours isn't much.
certainly.
Not when it's got no supercharger belt on it, anyway.
Mm.
Okay, guys. Well, before we move on to tonight's main topic as well, we have, of course, got to cover the Festival of Speed as well, because these two bear of absolute went to the Festival of Speed. But we did see one club racing car there, which was the V8 Supercar. Not really a club racing car.
At least put it up a little bit longer than that, boys. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Rick Wood brought his Holden. It made the top 10 shootout. I think it did quite well in the top 10 shootout, to be fair. But it's,
Yeah, I think it did, yeah.
it's like 600-700 horse. I mean, Jake Hill absolutely monstered that shootout. Did you guys get a chance to watch it?
Yes, we did.
I didn't. I was down in the drift paddock.
Gary,
you
Nick,
was there, weren't you?
Carl?
No,
I was in
didn't
the
get to see
garage.
any of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, busy working.
These guys are working.
Oh,
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, so that makes me the lazy bastard. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll move on from that. The one car that did make it up the hill as well. Shout out to show regular Jonathan Bevan. The imp made it up the hill. With Jonathan Crease got his. I don't know. Did he get his outing in the end? He got one run in, didn't he?
I think he got one run. Yeah, and then he broke it.
Do you mean Michael Crease or Jonathan Crease? Jonathan Bevan or Michael Bevan?
Did I just get that completely wrong?
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
Michael Crease, Jonathan. Oh, you're both the same anyway. You're from that east end of the country.
I must say, I mean, obviously the pictures do the car justice, but I was very lucky. Well, we were both very lucky to go and check the car out. I kid you not, you could eat your bloody dinner off that thing.
Superb.
It's very pretty.
The car.
Oh, did you break it?
Broke it. Diff hanging out.
Smashing off the line at 8,000. That's why.
Exactly, but he has confirmed he did get to drive it. He did get to drive it. Right, Nick, you've had a reply from your internet boyfriend Ben Griffiths. That is so. Ben Griffiths comments: "Is that better, Nick Holmes? I liked being incognito, but I'd like you to know who's staring at that massive forehead." Turns out yours extends right over the top, doesn't it?
It's better than you staring at the back of my head like normal.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you Honda drivers are like.
Yeah. Right. Sam Pierce has elaborated. TCR cars are winning Club Enduro while the TCR grid is short. Yeah, I get that. I guess that's maybe down to cost. You can run a TCR.
See what he means now. Right. We're in the room now.
I'm not in the room still, but you know.
That's a fair point, though, isn't it? Like,
it is a fair point.
Yeah.
I suppose
the joys of.
You've got bigger grids and it's more cost effective, and why not?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those. It's your car. You can do what the hell you want with it. To be fair,
take it where you want. If it fits in a championship, take it there. Job done.
It's clearly the right car for that championship. It's just you don't expect a 60, 70 grand car in a club championship, but that's what we now have nowadays.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're getting more affordable, aren't they? You can pick a second-hand one up for not too bad of money. Time people spend a lot of money on a car of that spec. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and they're cheap to run. You can get parts easily. Yeah. It's not like the older stuff where you just can't get parts for it anymore.
Yeah, it's all readily available.
And Ben Griffiths says here as well, TCR cars are affordable, so evidently we are going to see more and more of them. Cheap touring cars.
Yeah.
Although Liam Browning does make the point, I mean, 60, 70 grand for me, that's way above my budget. But yeah, on the broader spectrum of things.
Yeah, but like we compare it to last time. If you were to build like an an E46 M3 racer, for instance, you'd be pretty much knocking on roughly the same price. I mean, there's various other decent spec chassis out there, and you'll be knocking on the same door price-wise. But you can just go and pick one that's ready built, ready to go.
If you go to that picture, what was there? It was a M3, E46 M3.
Yeah, we'll go back to that.
Fairly well spec'd, so that's probably got to be around the same. Lotus beside it, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
go on. Right, go on. Let's have a quick look at that. Let's look at as far as we can see. So yeah, the Lotus, the BM are going to be of a similar price. You got an E36 M3 behind that.
TCR car.
3 TCR cars.
M3.
Yeah.
Holden.
Yeah. So, if anything, it's probably the cheapest car within the top 10 of that grid.
Yeah, but it's also the most economical to run, because if you go and do an engine on a TCR car, you're looking 5, 6, 8 grand for a second-hand one. Where that M3, I bet they're 20 grand into that engine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an absolute fair
So
point.
it makes sense.
Yeah, true. Although Craig says E36 M3s are cheap now.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Where
no,
did I
Top
get?
rolling spec one now.
I was going to say, I think they've gone up in value, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's hard to find a good one now.
And Ben does make the point: spend 60k on an M3 or buy a factory-built race. That's very. I mean, the only thing with the TCRs, if you buy one and run it in club racing, can you still effectively? So, say I went and bought a Seat Leon. I've saved up all my pocket money, and I went and bought. Can you still get factory support in terms of setup and stuff like that as well if you're having a bit of trouble, or is it just a case of here's your car, you can buy your bits from here from the Seat Sports Shop or whatever. That's it. Away you go.
Well,
Depends on
I
how.
would imagine if you're buying your bits, they're going to give you support. If you're not, they won't.
Yes, to be fair,
Yeah.
even on the old Super Copers, there's a lot of cheat sheets about and things like that. So there is stuff out there to help people.
Superb. Sam Pearce does make
Well,
the
that's the
point.
thing.
Everyone
You've
is throwing
got-
this cheap.
I mean, you boys have got 3 of them now, aren't you? So they're obviously easily
Yeah,
obtainable. All wicked-looking cars.
Yeah, 2 of our own and 3 customer cars on top of that. All Super Copers.
Oh, right. Oh, blimey. Nice.
Those ones there.
There you go.
Hey, look at that.
Now,
But again, they're factory-built touring car-esque, aren't they? So
Exactly, yeah, good bits of kit. And again, there's
Yeah,
cheat
well
sheets out there to
sorted.
help people with setups, and it's just easier to access.
and I'll take it. Can you still go directly to Seat and get parts for those?
It's more difficult now, but
Right.
4 or 5 years ago, yes.
Superb.
So-
Bit-
I'm surprised you haven't asked him for a drive yet, Nick.
there's time. This is still this is still the news roundup.
We haven't buttoned
Who's
him
this
up
young-
yet.
Nicholas, who's this young lady that's joined us this evening?
Oh, who's that young lady joining us? Oh God. Ooh, I've got to make sure I'm presentable now.
Bless
Oh,
you.
Nick's got a new girlfriend. Anyway, moving on. Jonathan Bevan, TCR are actually nothing special. Engine's fairly standard with good power.
Powder.
But powder, bloody hell. I can't even get my words out. It's just heat. Sorry, guys. Jonathan Bevan then follows on with, would have a TCR tomorrow. They're cheaper to run than most good club races now. Yes, they are. Mine just leaks. Simple as.
Yep.
And Liam Brown says something is lovely.
Lovely.
We think
Just
we
lovely.
think
It'll be
we
Nick.
think
It must. Do you know what? It
Oh,
must be
lovely,
that motorsport drinks bottle that he won.
Oh, yes.
He did.
One of these.
oh yes,
Well, we get some later.
one of those.
Yeah,
oh
Gary's got
yeah,
one as
Gary's
well.
got his out as well.
They're all good.
Bloody hell, everyone's an electrician. There's plugs flying around.
3.
Anyway, right, Pinky and Perky. Do you want to tell us about? Go on, Nick.
No, you said there's electricians about.
Oh, you're an electrician, aren't you?
Yeah.
Quick question out there. Get yourself into the comments.
Fucking-
Would you trust Nick to wire your plug?
Not a chance.
3.
I don't trust me.
The faces of everyone just kind of said it all. Okay, Pinky and Perky, take it away. Festival of Speed. How was your weekend?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
It's great.
No, we're lucky enough and privileged enough that we get invited up to Goodwood with VID Motorsport each year to help them and support them look after their gorgeous Raider Mark 1 Golf rally car. Inevitably,
Wicked
it
thing.
gets beaten up quite a bit through because the rally stage is pretty brutal. So we normally end up doing quite a bit of work, but this year, luckily, it wasn't too bad. We didn't have to do too much work. So
I think we
Thankfully.
got away with the majority of it, didn't we? Because I think the only
did,
thing
yeah.
that failed on it, big style, was the steering rack. And
Yeah.
we were down the bottom gallivanting around in the touring car and drift paddock while the Spark Development boys had to change their steering rack.
yep.
But that's,
So we share.
that's
we
why
share,
they were there as well. We
Yeah.
shared the responsibility.
we share the workload with Spark Development, so we kind of a day on, day off type thing.
Jonathan Bevan said the Drivers Club was unbelievable.
Yes, it is. It is quality.
Yeah, it was. What were
Um,
we doing? We sat down and had lunch, didn't we, Steph? We had like Abby Eaton behind us, and then you had
Yeah.
Darren Turner from Aston was next to us there. Who else was in? Oh, you had Jack Goff
Yeah,
a little bit
Jack
further
Goff.
behind us, and then there's just me and you like eating sandwiches. Like
I was going to say,
look at
was that the point when they sort of turned around and was like, that homeless guy's broke in again?
Yeah,
He's
and
in here again.
Anthony Reid as well.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay, you've been found out a bit here. David Vardy wasn't even there to help. Helping down the bottom, drinking beer more like.
Yes. Wow, that's how we roll, man.
Actually, we were looking after our superstar drifter. Dave.
Yeah. But
Haven't got that far yet.
Let's see this little golf get around that hairpin. Beautifully done.
George Clark absolutely sending it.
It was, yeah. So that was, so that's what we did at the rally stage. That's absolutely fantastic. We love it to bits. Flush at the top, so in between runs you can run over and see everything come at the top and do donuts and all the rest of it. But this year we was also fortunate enough that Biz Phillips got invited to run his drift car, which is a good friend of ours and a good friend of VRD Motorsport, which their collaboration managed to get him on the hill in his drift car. And he asked us if we would mind helping him as well.
Yes, he did.
So obviously we jumped at the chance to help him out with his drift car with a massive V8 swapped, supercharged monster of a thing that is. Makes some lovely noises.
680 brake and 700 pound-foot torque, something like that.
Yeah.
Animal. That's a animal.
Ran well. Had a few little issues on one of the days which we helped him out on, but apart from that, it was running sweet as a nut.
Yeah. What did we do? A diff change and some steering angle changes, but
some suspension set up. But I know it's not club racing, but we all love the sound of a V8 and tyre shredding. So
David Vardy says Travis Pastrana from Wish.com.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
so straight up.
I haven't got a picture of him. When you see him, he looks a spitting image of Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
And Pastrana was there, so everyone kept mistaking him for Pastrana.
David Vardy says at the end, truth told, you guys did an unreal job for the rider and on Biz's unbelievable drift monster. Legends.
Yeah, cheers, dude. But
superb.
I will say this does take us on to something actually, and it's something we do want to talk about with the Festival of Speed.
Let's see the drift video, then we'll talk about it.
All right, go on then.
Go, boy!
Yay! Tire smoke. Everyone loves that. Anyway,
just put it out there. I wouldn't want to be that marshal stood by the hay bale.
Oh no, there was one of them.
Oh, it was that guy.
It was that guy. It was Biz. It was a different day. He swung it round, and no shit, it must have been about an inch away from him. And we were stood behind that guy, and we got absolutely covered in tyre rubber. And that guy turned round, and he was in white overalls. He was black. Biz went over and sort of brushed him off afterwards. It was pretty funny. But yeah.
But I will add as well.
It's stupid.
He did not flinch one bit.
No.
Like honestly, Biz must have missed him by about that, realistically, and the bloke did not move an inch. It must have giant coconuts.
Yeah. But I just want to say before we move on to our plans of Goodwood and stuff, massive thank you to VRD Motorsport and Ian Biz Phillips for allowing us to help and work on their cars and for getting us to Goodwood once again. It's a fantastic place. If you haven't been, you need to go. It is an amazing event, amazing place, and we love it. So yeah.
And if you are a car fan, you got to go. We saw a friend of yours there, Gary. Actually, someone you might know.
Yeah. But it leads us on
Wasn't down at the Rolls Royce stand by any chance, was it?
Yeah, it was, funnily enough.
Yeah. She tends to loiter around there.
Yeah. Please can I have a Rolls Royce?
Speaking of, she comments, look at everything I missed at Goodwood.
Oh,
That's quite spooky,
Sarah.
though.
That's yeah, I do feel for her. We did pop by and say hello, and she was just stood there like in the baking hot sunshine, and yeah, we were having lots of fun.
Superb.
So.
Right, we got to go back to some comments quick because they are heating up. Naomi Jane says, "Hell no!" That's obviously her first reaction to seeing Nick in the nude. Ben Griffiths
Still is.
Nick, you look well better on OnlyFans. Get Rob to add filters to your live stream.
Oh dear.
Ben, never changed, mate. You are an absolute legend. Never changed. James Alford Racing joins us this evening. Good evening, James. Good to see you out at Stetterton as well. Jonathan Bevan, I did that in my imp.
Yeah.
Which Liam Brown in comments as well. To be fair, the imp Bevan was absolutely flying. Stu Waite, you've got a fan here, Carl. Evening all. Who's the ugly bloke in the middle at the bottom?
Yes, hello, Stu.
And Sarah Hall comes back. Nick and Stefan know my pain.
Yeah.
And welcome to Club Racing UK's therapy evening.
Yeah.
Where we talk about your cankles.
Yes.
And what we'll move on to quickly, Rob, if we can.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we want to move on quickly because hopefully we can stare at...
we noticed that there was fuck all club racing related. So what's the plan, Nick?
So the plan is next year we're gonna bloody well try. I'm gonna bash the doors down if I have to. We are gonna have our own stand at Goodwood Festival of Speed next year because, quite frankly, we will. Well, we are going to. In their defence, the Damer stand had a JSCC car on their stand. That was the only thing that was relatively club level on show, other than the Rickwood Holden. But we'll discard that a little bit. So what we're going to plan on doing is having our own stand there and hopefully shouting out to the masses about how everyone can go club level racing.
Exactly. So if anyone, any arrive and drive companies or series or clubs or anything that want to promote their series cars, etc., come speak to us. You can join in on our stand.
I see why we're all invited on now.
Hey, you guys get first refusal, but then we will open it up to the masses. But it just, to be honest, is on a serious note. Obviously, the Festival of Speed is massive, and I know obviously this year it was a pilot event because it was COVID and all that blah blah blah. But you still had over 120,000 people rock up, and I mean we've been doing it a few years, haven't we, Steph? Let's be honest. And I can, if that was ever the audience you wanted to attract into motorsport.
Yeah,
surely you'd have something there. I mean, I know 2 years ago, wasn't it? Obviously pre-COVID. I know Motorsport UK had the Piston Heads KA tucked away in a corner, but I think that 2 years ago was the only club level thing.
Yeah,
remotely available. And Motorsport UK weren't even there this year, so
no,
we are going to hopefully blow the doors off with a decent stand. Hopefully, going to have some freestanding areas so we can have people's cars out and about. Boards and info sheets on different series, etc. So if you are down for it, obviously it's still very early days yet, but yeah, keep your eyes open for that. And if you're interested, get in touch.
Shine Automotive, yes, boys, I want to come to that. Frank Frostick joins us this evening as well. This is where all the comments are. Evening, boss. Evening, gents.
Evening, Frank.
Frank.
It would appear, Steph, I think we're sharing the comments tonight because I'm only getting a select few.
Oh, yeah?
I know. Liam Abbott comments as well. He's happy to bring a car down as well. So is that everything Festival of Speed related you wanted to...
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about it too much.
Get off here. Get it off. Okay, guys. Well, from that, then it's time to talk to the three people below me about what is quite popular in club racing today, and that is Arrive and Drive. It's certainly alive. We're going to have ourselves a bit of a balanced debate this evening. I know we've got three guys below me that offer Arrive and Drives, but there's a reason they do that. There's a reason it's popular in motorsport. Okay, there are going to be some downsides, which I can have a thought that one of them is likely to be cost, but let's hear it from you guys. So tell you what, we'll go across the bottom. Let's start with Gary. What is so good about Arrive and Drive?
See, from my point of view, because obviously I do the Focus Cup and the KAs, it's cost. from a customer point of view, paying for an arrive and drive, you don't have to store a car, you don't have to transport a car, you don't have to maintain it at circuit. You just turn up, you do your thing, you go home. So if you haven't got the time or the space, it's ideal. From the business side of things, arrive and drive is catering for those people who want to do their racing on that sort of spectrum. Obviously, I run it as a business, so there is a profit margin in there, but it seems to work, and we are busy as well. So I think it kind of works for the people who want to go racing but can't really afford the outlay of a car, the transport, the storage, and the maintenance.
Okay, Carl?
You need some.
I think the biggest thing at the moment is experience with cars, because the cars that we're right now racing are getting more and more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not as simple as it once was. And time. Everyone's time is precious. And that has a cost to it. And there's a lot of people out there that can go and earn in that time, the 3 or 4 hours that they would do per day, looking after a car, storing a car, traveling with a car, getting back at 6 o'clock in the morning, starts and things like that. But when they take that into their work, can earn probably more money than they can paying a company to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes to Gary. Look at trailer hire now. It's what, £50 a day?
Something like that. Yeah.
If you
don't
up over 65 now.
Yeah. If you don't have a trailer or somewhere to store it, you've got to hire it. So all of a sudden you can be up to £200 just for a trailer for a weekend, let alone storing the car and everything goes with it. There's more to it now than there used to be. And I think motorsport is more accessible, even though with the conversation we're having is about motorsport not being accessible. It's more accessible to people in their late 30s to early 50s, and they don't have the time and don't want to be working on a car in the evenings. They want family time.
Thing is, as well, I found as well, not everybody knows anything about cars. Some people want to just drive a car.
Yeah.
And they couldn't tell you what a spanner looks like. So for those guys and girls that just want to get in a car and drive around in a circle, yes, I don't know what a fucking spanner is.
No, I was pointing to the spanner. I mean, Richard Hardwood brings up the comment here. So I would never have got into racing if it wasn't for Arrive and Drive. Accessibility for people who don't know how to get into motorsport. Would you agree, Nick Jackson?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say the other big thing on this is you get to try different stuff. There's no commitment. Once you've bought your car, you're pretty tied into your car for a while and as an investment. So at least Arrive and Drive, you can try something with 100 horsepower right through to 400 horsepower. It just gives you that variety. You're not stuck in one series, stuck in one championship. And again, like the other said, it's the side of things of actually being able to run a car. A lot of people don't have that mechanical know-how. The spare parts that you have to put into it as well, all the extra stuff you have to carry from behind the scenes, it's all done for you. You just turn up and do the fun bit.
Yeah, and Lean Mabbit actually says here, who doesn't want to turn up and just focus fully on the driving if they can afford it? As a driver, it's the ideal situation.
It's strange. It's kind of strange in a way when you say you can't in affordability, because I think when you run and build your own car, I've contemplated it quite a bit, and I think Arrive and Drive could work out cheaper than running your own car and building your own car, much cheaper. But it depends obviously on what car and all the rest of it you're running. But I don't see it as a more expensive alternative for Arrive and Drive.
No, but I also think you've got people that barrier of motorsport, when you look at it from the outside, is quite scary. So just turning up and saying, right, okay, we help people through, and I know Nick does, and getting through ARDS. The amount of people we get phone calls just to do that, because they look at it and it's actually quite scary. And then the natural progression is, well, actually, Nick, if you've helped me through my ARDS, what can you offer me to race? And we've had it where we've had customers that have stayed with us 2 or 3 years. They've found out what they want to race. They then go and get their car because they're capable of looking after it. But those first 2 or 3 years would have been scary just doing it on their own.
Yeah.
That's a good
100%.
shout, actually. I to be fair, I almost wish I did it that way round, to be honest. If I was more aware of what an arrive and drive is and how to go about it, I certainly wouldn't have invested in a Vauxhall Vectra.
Yeah, true.
Then,
I mean, to be fair,
no, in all seriousness,
Nothing wrong with the Vectra.
Or spend about 15
you
to
put
18
yours up,
grand
Gary.
on
What are you on about?
Mine's in the
Yeah.
Puma.
yeah. I mean, I brought this comment up while you were talking about it, Nick, because it kind of comes in with it. So, arrive and drive does limit the never-ending development spend. Running a car now takes so much effort, and I often question whether it's all worth it. I think, to be fair, in the past month while I've been working on my car, I've retired from racing about 4 or 5 times in an evening. And then you sort of get back to it. I guess it's kind of the struggles of.
That's let's be honest. You know your car inside and out. So that's one of the pros.
Yeah,
really, to building your own car.
Well, I mean, the thing
pride
for me,
of building your own car.
Yeah,
the
thing for me, and of course, I haven't got the money to go right. Here's X amount of money I'm going to go and do this weekend in a cup car in whatever championship somewhere. I can spread my crop, because at the end of the day, I've got this amount of money to spend, so I can sort of I can budget my money on right. So that's for an entry fee. That's going to be for X repairs, and if I can't afford it, I don't go to the next race. I don't go racing. So that's kind of my way, because I can work on my own car, because I can.
Yeah, but you can do that the same with arrive and drive, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to cost you X amount, and it's not going to cost you an extra 500 quid at the end of it when you've broken something. Unless you really break it and you don't take insurance out, then it may cost you a lot of money.
Well, that's we'll grab some more comments, because it's starting to spice up a bit. So Richard Harwood, it's also great if you don't want to do every single event in the series, can come in and just do 1 or 2 without sinking money into a car for it only to be raced every now. I think that's meant to be every now and then, not now and Aldi. But
we get car related.
To be fair, again. Ben Griffiths as well. I know he offers a lot of cars for Arrive and Drive as well. Arrive and Drive for some, depending on the package, is over a season very cost effective. Some just forget how much they spend over a season. For example, a day lost just loading and unloading, etc.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And before we move, hang on, Nick, hang on now. What is this comment about?
I did deliberately leave that comment because I thought, what is going on?
If anyone is watching and can make that happen, I will certainly give it a go.
Jim will fix it.
Moving on. You just got. Hey, guys, remember though, people will listen to this as a podcast, so no one knows what we're laughing about right now.
That's why I didn't read it out. It's funny.
Yeah,
you do.
For our audio listeners there on the podcast, that was a reference.
Don't tell them; they now have to go watch it.
That was basically a comparison of Nick and Jimmy Savile, but we'll leave it there. Jamie Goff as well. I think Arrive and Drive is great. Defo makes it easier for everyone and anyone to take part. So a question to the three of you. So when you pay that lump sum, where do the costs go for you guys? Where do you put that money?
For my side,
eerily quiet.
Well, no. So there's lots of places.
It covers your normal costs.
So all the costs that you generally have racing a car, you get from us. We also, and I'm sure that I know these guys too, because they're running as professional teams. They have insurance.
Yep,
got paid for. You know, we've got to have insurance there in case something goes wrong. We've got to have it for insurance on the cars. We've got premises that cost money, and then you've got all the costs of that go with it. Transport to and from the circuit, so the things that people don't necessarily remember and think about. So it's not just a matter of it goes straight in your pocket. Motorsport's expensive, and it's expensive to run. So it's not like you can take it and go right there. 90% of it goes in the pocket, 10% of it goes to running the car. I would probably say, and I know I don't know Gary quite as well, but I do know Nick, and I've seen Gary's car, so I can probably say the same for him as well. Preparation of those cars takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we probably change bits that if I was doing it on my car, I probably wouldn't change. But you don't want to risk it failing, so you change it probably a little bit earlier than you would normally do.
No, 100%. I mean, I can sit on both sides, similar to Carl, in the sense of my first race or my first racing was in my own car. And I used to drag out bits because didn't have the budget, etc., things like that. Now with Arrive and Drive, you wouldn't ever do that. In safety, to safety first, you just change it.
So, more or less, you would know absolutely smack bang. You're getting a car that's been absolutely the preventative maintenance the crap out of to try and stop anything bad happening.
Exactly that.
It's keeping the cars at a reliable standard for each race. So when your new customer comes, that car is identical to the last race, and you're more than confident that car's going to finish. Because you don't want the disappointment of turning up and doing 30 minutes of a 6-hour race and thinking, I'm not going with them guys again, when it could have been a £25 part that you could have changed to actually finish the race.
And don't get me wrong, it's motorsport and things happen that shouldn't. We've put on wheel bearings in the past, brand new wheel bearings for a 12-hour race. 48 minutes into it, we've had to change a wheel bearing. It happens. It's motorsport. You can't plan for it. But you plan not to have those, and then you have the spares to make sure you carry on.
So that you do everything you can to get them back out again. It's not just a pack up and go.
Yeah,
because you don't just supply the car. You've got the car and all the spares to go with it to do your utmost to keep that car going for the full race as well.
That's it, and qualified, dedicated mechanics as well to jump on it and make sure that car's turned around as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Superb. Now, Paul Harvey, friend of the show as well, has commented, having owned and run multiple cars over 10 years, I've now sold up and moved to Arrive and Drive. I've just arrived home from Goodwood in my daily. The car I drove on track was delivered there, maintained all day, refueled and then taken away. I didn't have to worry about tyres, brakes, maintenance storage, modifications, bodywork damage, get into the yard to collect the car the day before, a van, a trailer, etc., etc. Turn up, enjoy, drive, no stress, and the actual overall cost with everything. That has tailed off because I think we've got a limit on the amount of characters we could show comments to. But I think it's... However, Sam Pearce has come straight back to that. I know. Sold the car because you're a bell end.
I love it.
And Paul agrees.
Oh, fair enough. Thing is, right, before I forget about it, again, I'm not an Arrive and Drive business owner, but again, you guys are all putting your names out there as the go-to place for Arrive and Drive. So it's also paramount that you guys do make a good name for yourselves. You do have reliable cars, fast cars, cars that look the business and will bring results for more custom. So,
yeah. Now, Richard makes a good point here. Not all Arrive and Drive teams are equal, though, chaps. Some are not as honest as others in regards to maintaining a competitive car. It can be a minefield for new drivers, speaking from experience. This is just a broad question to you three. I'll come to you individually. So we'll start with you, Gary. Have you had any experience where you've seen other Arrive and Drive teams maybe not be as... we'll put it as equal in preparation, as you say. Is there an issue there as well?
Yeah, see, Arrive and Drive teams is a slightly different to an Arrive and Drive business. You've got some guys who do it just to get the car out and subsidise their own racing, which then it goes towards cost, because what I would charge for one race might not be anywhere near what they would charge for their race. So it's kind of it's teams and businesses, and I have seen teams that aren't fully prepared because they're not actually running it as a business. They're just running it as their car and basically subsidising the racing.
Mm-hmm. And Carl, same question.
Yeah, it's same as Gary. Really, to me, there's two things. It's like professional teams, and they don't necessarily need to be professional in the term of with the way they are, but they operate as a team and they run with drivers only. You also get the arrive and drive, and specifically in the C1s and KAs where one or two drivers will own the car. They need another third or fourth driver, so they sell a subsidised seat basically. But it's to those, it's generally fairly clear which way we go for, and I think the customer base is separate for those as well. I do see the occasional one. Hello, Nick. Well, that was a bit distracted there. I was getting up by a cat. But yeah, you get them where sometimes it just looks far too cheap, and that would always be a concern. You know, we've seen it where you have people advertise for £600 for a race where the entry is £950. Tyres are going to cost you probably £600. Fuel's another £300 or £400, and you're like, well, actually, that doesn't add up to a third of the cost that you're getting. And we know it's just so that they can go racing, so they're subsidising your racing.
Yeah.
But if it's too cheap, then you've got to look at it. And we all use the word cheap, but motorsport isn't cheap, not compared to playing cards or fishing, but it's cheap at the lower end compared to equestrian.
Well,
just a quick one on what Carl said there.
Go on, Gary.
When you said cheap, there is teams out there who are cheap and are really good. So I wouldn't look at the cost as being cheap to avoid them. It's more, it's quite hard because there is guys who are absolutely cock on with their cars, and they sell a cheap drive to subsidise their racing, and they're fantastic. But then obviously there's some that sell it cheap because they need somebody in, but the car's not as what you'd expect. So it's not as clear defined. It's not as defined as a cheap drive is a crap drive. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is then people need to go to the Club Racing UK, the Paddock Facebook group, ask in there about Arrive and Drive team company, and get recommendations from it.
What a
definitely.
fantastic idea. If only there was some kind of platform that everybody could...
The thing is, at the end of the day, the best thing is recommendation with all this.
Yeah. Straight away, word of mouth will always prevail, even before social media.
100%.
And it's also down to what drivers want. You get some drivers that want to be uber competitive, and you get some drivers that just want to take part. And that is a whole different ball game to what they want to do, where they want to go. And some teams work where if it's more of a friendly team, more of a mates team where you get sort of in and get dirty, because some drivers want to do the mechanicking, they want to go and help out, and therefore it makes that's the right kind of team for them to go into. And you got other team drivers that literally want to turn up at 5 minutes to 9 for a 9 o'clock start and leave 3 hours before the end of the race because their stint's over.
My first ever experience of motorsport was actually with a local team, Scruton race team, in the Fiesta Championship, and I found them. I can't even remember how I found them, probably on Facebook or something like that. And they said, "Come along, help us, clean some wheels, tighten some wheel nuts, etc." And that was such a massive eye opener for me that you did have. There was 4 cars they were running. 2 of the guys wanted to go out there to try and win races, and 2 of the other guys, as you say, would rock up in their Ferrari at 5 to 9, jump in the car, pootle around at the back, get out, get in their home, and you wouldn't see them again. They weren't bothered about winning, and that really frustrated the hell out of me, because at that point I wasn't anywhere near to racing, and I would have given my left arm to try and win a trophy in one of those cars. But some people just didn't want to do it, and it took a while for me to get my head around that not everyone wants to try and win trophies. But
there we go. Ben Griffiths comes up. Gary, spot on. Some people are winging it. It normally shows when your cars are polished, ready for the next day, and across the paddock there's 5 cars in 1,000 bits. He also says, do one, Nick. Gary is the best baldy there. Sense and knowledge, top man. And then
I don't even know the guy, and I haven't played him.
And then a comment from Elliot. Let's keep the 3 lads at the bottom of the screen, plus Rob's lovely voice and conversation skills. Nick and Steph have a mini moto to prep.
Okay. I'll be back in a minute. I'll go get one. I'm sure I can nick one from around Bournemouth somewhere.
Jane Finley, running Arrive and Drive is close to a ratio of 90% preparation and running cost, 5% stress and 5% profit. Liam Browning as well. C1 costings are broken. The differential in prices are so steep. To be fair, Gary, you've experienced a bit of C1. Have you seen that?
Yeah, definitely. The entry prices on C1 is so astronomical compared to the KAs. It's unreal, and obviously that reflects in any Arrive and Drive that anybody wants to do. And then obviously that's a question that people say is like, why is it so expensive? And it's most of it's down to entry cost, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't really have an answer why the entry cost is so much more expensive for similar races in the KAs.
Superb. So Nick's just dealing with child at the moment, so I'll move on to some more comments. Richard Harwood. Carl, agreed. There is a challenge, though, with these two driver types, competitive versus participants, where you end up with a mixture of drivers within one Arrive and Drive endurance team event. Hopefully, teams can keep that in mind when building driver lineups.
Yeah, I know we do, and I know Nick does exactly that. So we actually are quite lucky with drivers we have. They share a couple of cars and they go testing on the Friday. The fastest four get the number one car. The next fastest four get the number two car. Nick, I think you need to go and feed your cat, mate.
Yeah, go and feed your cat, Nick.
He sees a laptop and that's it. He's like, I want to be centre of attention. He's sat literally just behind it now.
He thinks he's better looking than you are, mate.
Well, you can all have his face if you
For
want.
our audio listeners, Nick is being attacked by his cat.
Paul Harvey, real reason I sold the car is my Spanner monkey won in the car before I did in his first race. That's a very good point. Albeit Paul Harvey can pedal. Sam Pearce turns up in the wet in the
Just not as well as Sam.
But Sam Pearce just turns up in the wet, turns on the JRD giggle switch, and just goes for it, and wins track. He won track day championship race, and then came second overall in the track day trophy race. Unreal.
Wow.
Unreal. Carl Hitchin, not interested in trophies. I just love getting out in a race, which is fair enough. That's
the
other end of the
But
spectrum.
this is it, isn't it? There's also different. So, all right, I'll put a question out to all you teams. I know we briefly touched on it, and
okay.
You know what? So what happens when you get one guy come along saying, "Hey, I want to win a championship with you," and then you got another guy saying, "Hey, look, I just want to go racing and see if it's for me." Do you have different approaches towards your weekend with that, or
realistically, no, from our point of view. And it's one thing I probably have learned from running a team is don't necessarily judge results on how the team can set up a car, run a car, and look at it. Go and actually see those races, see what they've done in the past. Because we don't discriminate. I'm not going to sit here and say I only take guys that want to go and win, because actually you need a team that works together.
yeah, nice.
Well,
Definitely.
I mean, to be honest, we've got some lovely examples here of the Graves Motorsports fleet in the past. I mean, how many?
That's
I was going
I'm thinking. Oh no, that's Dave in that one.
I mean, that's the fleet. I mean, if you're listening on the audio, Nick's just having a crisis.
That is my ultimate goal, to get in one of them. I want an E30 race. I know, seriously. I know I try and blag a race every fucking time I'm on here, but
That's
if
a
I
good
could have
point.
an E30 race going,
That's after an 8.5 hour race, not before the 8.5 hour.
No, that's when you line up for the start line.
That's not how you prep them then.
Exactly. And then this is quite a most recent one from the Mini Cooper Challenge. This was quite impressive.
Yeah, so Lee, number 23, was taking his first win in the new Coopers and our first for the team. That was the first round at Snetterton this year. The top four, I think, was separated by 0.014 of a second.
wow.
Superb. And of course, this is a big favourite as well amongst several people. The lovely Graves 130 BMW that's raced in Track Day Championship.
Yes,
Yeah.
130 was built.
Pretty
We've
good
had
car.
4 different drivers race that and 4 different winners in TDC in that. It's only not been on the podium once, I think, when it was wet. we removed all the toys off it, so it's got no traction control, no ABS to make it a bit better. But then it means in the wet it's a bit of a handful.
What can I say?
You need a fifth driver and a fifth win, don't you?
And there we go. And
when are you available, Rob?
I'll give you a call, Carl. I'll give you a call. Don't worry. I'll say. To be fair, Carl, I've been testing now. I've got a bit more confidence. We'll sort of deal out. We'll sort of deal out. But if you want a race setup, that is stunning. There, the Arctic and everything. That is a very professional setup. So it's a credit to yourself, to Dave and to Peter, your dad. So it's Grace Motorsport. Is it all just you guys ran as a whole family?
It started off. So rather than try and tell you, I'll do it quick. We started off racing 2014, 2015. My brother raced, done a bit of racing in 13 and 14. Not much. I then decided I was going to go and join him. And I don't really want to see Nick's crutch, nor does anyone else.
I'm having technical difficulties.
So yeah, 2014. Then 2015, my dad stopped racing, and one of my friends come up to me and went, "I fancy going racing," and that's how we done our first arrive and drive in that orange E30. And then over the next 2 years, we went from running 3 E30s just as a family up to running 12 at some weekends, generally 10 to 12. And we've done that pretty much for 2 or 3 years, and where we were in 2020, where we went to mini challenge with a new challenge for us, and one that's going pretty well at the moment, and a bit of TDC and a bit of club racing here and there elsewhere with the KAs, which, to be fair, is probably my best weekends of the way with the KAs. The ones I love. Brilliant weekends.
It's a good laugh, isn't it?
That does look like a good weekend right there. Punch drunk. I kid. I mean, the KA racing is frantic at the best of times, but when it's November at Brands Hatch, it's minus -1 million and everyone's sliding into Paddock Hill because they've just thought of touching the steering wheel.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. So Nick Jackson, if the cat will let us, we'll come to you. We'll bring up the first picture here. So this is from this year, Team Bear Racing.
Yes, yeah, that's one of our arrive and drive cars. Yeah, that's actually going back to the talk of you guys saying matching up different teams. That one was a couple of guys basically want to build up their experience. They're new to racing, so obviously put them all together. And basically, well, yeah, they did the first few rounds quite well, and it's just gaining experience for them, really.
Superb. And then there is something here. I love the look of the old style Seat Super Copa. So the fact that you've got 3 of them, as you can see here, we did pull it up earlier in the show, but that's quite magnificent and shows, again, we said it with Carl, we'll say it with all 3 of you tonight, that's a professional team at work. Superb.
Well, I don't know about that. Joe in the middle there. Stand on the car. Cool. Hold off for that.
Pop it down there, Dan.
There we go, Jamie. That's
Yeah.
Hold on. Didn't he try mugging you off for being ugly earlier? Look at the state of that.
I will say, right, Nick is hiding his hands in that because they're obviously very clean. Jamie has obviously done all the work.
Can you see how this relationship works now?
And I remember this shot. I don't think I saw you, Nick, because you were out in the car, but I did come see you guys at Motorsport Days Live. Not last year, obviously, because some Chinese guy ate a bat, but the year before that. And you guys had the cars on display there as well, so that was looking quite good. That'd be good.
Yeah, that was a mega weekend, actually.
Is that a plan to go back there as soon as everything's sort of to normality?
I'd hope so. I mean, it was a good weekend, if nothing else, to be honest. That was the first time we had that Super Copa out. And before that, I hadn't driven it. And that was the day that I decided that I was going to race it myself for the next year or so. Rather than renting it out, which is probably...
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Do a bit of that, you mean?
Turned into 2 years.
Well, it's turned into... Well, we'll come across it when we do Partner Focus later on. NJM is part of the Partner Focus, so we'll come back to that because you've had quite a bit of success recently. And this Fiesta here, I do remember chasing some KAs down and is quite prevalent in the TDC and TDT paddock.
Yeah, that's been around for a while. So that won the TTC Class D Championship in 2016. Up till probably last year, it did probably every TDC round with multiple different drivers. It's only recently that it's sort of taken a bit of a back burner since we've had the Mini.
Okay.
Nice.
So, I mean, NJM for you guys, we'll focus a bit more on the history of it in Partner Focus. So we'll come back to you next. So now we move. I don't know if the guys told you before, Gary, but I labelled your pictures Stud Muffin just because I can. So there we go. Look at that handsome devil.
Hey.
Oh, for God's sake.
Just while Nick's
just-
dealing with his camera issues.
I'll tell you something, Gary. You look
And I
bloody
haven't got
tiny
a
in
clue
that
what I'm
picture.
doing there.
No, Minesweeper.
You're not
Yeah.
the first person to say that to me.
Playing
But Gary-
Minesweeper.
But Gary,
Love it.
am I right in saying that you didn't exactly
dear.
start off on the black stuff?
That's
No,
supposed to be on the black
um,
stuff.
That's
Oh.
that, believe it or not, that will be at Snetterton in August Bank Holiday for the 45-minute race.
What? You're taking it out on the
Brilliant.
road?
It's going on tarmac. Yeah, I'm doing the I can't. It's the extra one at Snetterton for Snetterton.
Oh,
Saloon.
the Snet
And
Saloons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm doing a few mods to it, and she'll be out rocking and rolling for 45 minutes. The
Oh, that's
the 60 litre
fantastic.
tank on it.
And as you can see here is the GM Performance KA really pushing
There we
itself to the limits. I take it that was at Cadwell earlier this year, while the Club Racing UK one was
Yeah, that's
having some repairs.
issues. Yeah, that's actually Simon Walton in that from the Focus Cup.
Ah,
Well,
cool.
Nice.
Well, it's funny you should say that about the Focus Cup. So if you look at arrives and drives, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably about to get this absolutely horrifically wrong. But from what I can gather, Focus Cup is the only series that is purely arrive and drive at club level.
Yes,
At club
I think
level.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
because
the only one with MSBR as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to move on. We're going to talk about the Focus Cup, okay, because it is a very unique series. Just before, we're going to cover off some of the comments as well. Nick's disappeared. I think he's got some childcare to take care of, so we'll just carry on without him for a second. Now, Ben Griffiths. Carl Hitchin is a true budget racer. One set of tyres and brakes a season. He has a laugh, lives on wagon wheels and pot noodles, but sends it. Fair enough. I think that's the other end of the budget spectrum. I kind of live to that homage. Love wagon wheels as well. That's why I'm fat.
Only the jammy ones.
Only the jammy ones, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
Jam
be.
only.
Jammy ones. Gary, we've got Branko Kiprowski has commented in. Hi, guys. Great guest. Gary, always on the pace. Clean racer, wherever he's racing. Cheers. Thank you, Branko. Thank you for tuning in. For us, it's every 3 weeks now. So if you are getting a bit bored on a Wednesday evening, take a look out on the Club Racing UK social media pages. We're going to be going out live to Club Racing UK Facebook and to YouTube as well. If you do miss out tonight, get yourself over to YouTube, and the audio will be going out as well on Spotify, Amazon Music, and the likes, whatever podcast provider you listen to as well. Ben Griffiths, Gary is an aspiration. Fair play. Get some of them E30s sold and buy a TCR.
I'm Donny.
We've got a business pitch here as well. Jamie Goff, who runs the Mark II Hull Score Escort.
Who can sell a seat the quickest? Go.
Yeah, he wants to have a go in a KA. So, yeah, Jamie, you've got 3 guys there that say you're a decent seat in a KA. We'll let them scrap amongst themselves.
I know who I'd choose.
I'm in no rush. I'm fully booked till the end of the year now.
I was going to say, Nick, I'm sorry, I'm fully booked. You better go and see Jamie. Nick, I'm not that bad to put it on you, mate. I think it's Jamie to deal with.
He doesn't know what we've got half the time, so it's all good.
So we know who the real boss is then.
No, he's better at fixing them.
Yeah. Liam Browning, Nick, what are you up to? He's moving everything around there.
Who, me?
Yeah. Ben Griffiths, Nick Holmes, where can I buy V-neck T-shirts? What washing powder do you use? I think that was from the Camerons.
Primark £4 special right here.
Beautiful. Matt Cleary, good evening, Matt. We are live on YouTube as well, so don't worry about that. I know he messages me a lot asking if it's going out on YouTube. Well, finally, it is, Matt. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Ben Griffiths, has Nick gone to check his washing powder brand? There we go. And Shine Automotive. I like to think we provide a good service there, Shine. They're craving wagon wheels now, guys. Only the jammy ones. Only the jammy ones.
Yeah, but have you seen the size of them recently?
Oh, your jammy Dodger. I want to go buy some jammy Dodgers now.
Oh, lovely.
How cool is that biscuit tin?
That was awesome. That was.
But it comes with jammy Dodgers like this big, bourbons that are like this big, custard creams and Oreos that are massive too. Wicked birthday present, that.
Can we talk about racing now, guys?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Oh, yeah, sorry, carry on.
Everyone in the comments, what's your favourite biscuit?
Yeah, 100%. Do you agree with Nick Holmes?
No, that needs to be
Jammy
another
Dodger
episode.
all the way.
I think this is a whole new podcast idea.
I was going to say.
Well, we've spoken about the cost of burgers at an MSV circuit, so we could always.
That's very true. We'll branch out. We'll call it the Club Biscuit UK podcast. Right, Focus Cup, Gary. So you've been racing in it quite a lot, haven't you? So you've done more or less done the first few years, haven't you?
Did a full season last year. I only did a few rounds the year it started. Finished second in the championship last year, but we all know with COVID and everything, we were down to five meetings or something like that. But this year, we're getting massive grids, 20 plus cars every meeting. Some really quick guys coming through as well. I'm really struggling to keep up with most of them, to be honest. But no, it's working out to be quite a really good championship for new, old, and general club racers. To be honest, it's well, as you can see, that's where most of them come from. But as an arrive and drive, it is a little bit on the expensive side, but the cars themselves, they have a touring car look about them, and they're identical. And for diesels, they are quick.
So that's a grid there now. So what you're looking at, you've got a wide body kit from ABS composite panels. It's got a K&N filter, which if any 17-year-old will tell you, if it's fitted to his car, that gives you 50 horsepower. That does. A custom Dorenza exhaust as well. Track and Road in Essex and Durham remaps. They do maps and put the power up to 175 horsepower. But of course, in a diesel, you've got the massive amounts of torque, which in these is 310 foot-pounds. AST suspension, Powerflex bushes, dynamic wheels, and Dunlop tyres. I mean, you're right, Gary. They do look like a pretty shit-hot touring car. But they sound like a diesel. There's nothing else to say about it.
It's one of them. Stick your fingers in your ears, and they look the part. You can't really do much about the noise, but massively under your
none of us
noise level.
None of us can talk about noise when we all drive KAs. Come on.
Hang on.
They're only a few decibels
kind of noise. At least they make some kind of race car noise.
Yeah.
It's not really a noise. It's a rumble.
Yeah.
Just really deep.
He's got the noise down to a T there.
Yeah, isn't it?
But drivability of the cars, you don't realise until you take one on a track day and you're out cornering Porsches and Lotuses and the handling spec on the ST suspension and the Dunlop tyres is really, really good, which makes for a really good close championship as well.
Superb. Ben Griffiths does actually say, Gary, do us a deal on a Focus drive. I'll be as fast as I used to have a mapped PD Golf, no smoke, no poke.
See, the only problem with that is there's only two people who won the championship, so it's not down to me, it's down to Simon and Rob. So you'd have to go on the Focus Cup. Ching ching.
Well, you say that, Steph. Can you just pop the? We've got a banner up. We've got the sort of prices for the rest of the year. There we go. So that's what you're looking at. So Donington Park, 3,200, 2,800 quid for Silverstone, 29 for Castle Combe, Cadwell 2.5, 29 for Alton. So I assume that's this weekend. 2,700 for Croft, $4,000 for Brands Indy. Bloody hell!
Brands Indy. It's a double header. It's 4
right.
Okay.
And
so it's
Barry,
two meetings Saturday and Sunday. Well, sorry, Carl.
So these prices include the Friday testing as well, don't they?
Yes, they do. It's your full that price there is your full arrive and drive. So it's tip up Friday. You do your full testing Friday. You're qualifying and your 2 races on the Saturday. Like hospitality, tea, coffee, biscuits, and basically everything you need. Just tip up.
So I know you said it's expensive. I don't actually think that is, including Friday testing, because that's a £750 cost for anyone on a normal day.
Straight off, yeah.
And you put your tyres, your extra fuel, your 360 quid for a test day.
If you look
at a lot of money on a Friday.
It's to be honest, to be competitive in the championship, you need that Friday. You really do. Unless you do know your circuits, then fair enough. But I think the price is really good value for money when it includes the testing as well. It's just a nightmare having to take a Friday off.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 8 or 9 times in the year, so it's
Rob and Simon have invested a lot into this to get it going, and it's actually good for motorsport that it is now, because I know they struggled the early days getting numbers in it, but having a grid of 22, 23 cars is pretty damn good, and they're all maintained to the same level. So it's not like someone's throwing money at a car in a club motorsport. They're all at the same level.
Yeah. The only thing the drivers can change is basically tyre pressures and your suspension, and that is it. The tracking and everything is set by the team. It's actually per their Motorsport UK instruction. So basically, it's tyre pressures, suspension, and driver talent. Really.
Nice. Right. So that is why Gary does race near the front. I will pump his tyres up a bit there, but it's been quite good seeing you race this year. Especially, I mean, to be honest, the elephant in the room, Mr. Parkin. I mean, he's used to racing diesels. That's an advantage. He's probably never learned a petrol engine in his life, bless him. So to be keeping up with it, and a big shout out to the dark, a big shout out to the dark side guys. I think they have a love of rolling coal. So, I mean, in all seriousness, what's it been like this year? It does look
from
like
up this end of the country. Yeah, it is. It's like I said, the younger guys are coming through, and I'm no spring chicken anymore. So it's I have been struggling to keep up with them, but heads down, and I'm chasing both Scott and Simon. But no, Scott does know how to chuck a diesel around, to be honest.
There we go. Ben Griffiths, best get a grow on in the attic. See you all at Brands. I mean, if you are looking for alternate ways to generate income for your
No, we are not condoning that on the
show. Can't promote that. Did you want to show this video?
I'm all for medical marijuana, but in the meantime, have yourself a nice video showing the Focus Cup.
Right, this was made in 2019, so some of the info is a bit out of date, but it gives you a gist of what it's all about if you don't know.
Yes, something new for 2019. We are doing the Focus Cup Championship. It's brand new, and we've got some brilliant drivers what we've been going out testing with. The cars look absolutely fabulous. They're loving it. That's the main thing. What we wanted to do was an arrive and drive championship where everything was equal on the cars. If they're all housed in one garage, everything's set up's the same, the engines are the same. We looked at the idea of the karting world where you can draw a ball from a box and you've got a different kart each round. and that means totally fair. You might have a slightly faster car, even though we've had them all on the dyno to get them to 310 pounds per foot. They should all be the same. If they're not, you won't have that car next time anyway, so we're trying to keep it as equal as possible. If we just have everything in one day, we test on the Friday, qualify 2 races on the Saturday, keeps the cost right down with where we want it to be. Some of the circuits we going up our way to Croft, all the way down to Brands Hatch, which we're doing the GP and the Indy, and we're doing mostly the MSV tracks for the rest, Donington, Old Park, Snetterton. We're building 20 cars in total. We're only selling 18 seats though. We're keeping 2 cars as backup cars for the weekend in case we have a major problem. Yeah, we've got 11 seats filled so far. We're looking for 18 seats to be filled. It's now, we're still in February, so we've still got a bit of time, and we've got a lot of drivers sitting on the fence just ready to take that jump, and I'm pretty confident we'll fill the grid at the first round.
There we go. So if you are interested in a drive in the Focus Cup series, get onto the Focus Cup boys and Simon Walton. Now, Ben Griffiths, I will shout Rob Gaffney out as well. He did superb at Coombe. Having never driven one before, he just got in the car, absolutely sent it, and did really well. He got a few podiums, didn't he, Gary?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was flying.
Yeah,
elbows out.
He's annoyingly fast in everything.
But no, see that's another thing. You get new guys come in, and the whole just the whole paddock of the Focus. The guys are so friendly, even right down to the mechanics, and there's good crack and we good bit of a laugh, and they stick with the same clerk as well. We have Jonathan Provost as our clerk of the course, and there's consistency all the way through the championship. So it's really, really fair, to be honest.
No, I've left it up for quite a while, but Sarah Hall's commented there. So, Focus Cup is a mega tight championship between Gary Scott and Simon Rudd, who leads by just 3 points going to Alton this weekend. So that we want to keep an eye out for on the result sheets. There is 1 point separating third, fourth, and fifth in the championship. Alton is going to be mega. Gary, make sure you send us updates. We'll get them up on the Club Racing UK socials.
No pressure.
I definitely will do. Yeah. Don't hang about for an old man.
There we go. No pressure at all. Right. Well, I guess that kind of covers Focus Cup, gents. So before Nick says it, if you have got a Focus Cup drive going, Simon or anyone if you're watching, sod Nick, him and Steph went to the Festival of Speed. Give us a shout.
You'll be all over driving a Focus, wouldn't you?
Yeah, love it. Well, to be fair, same chassis. Well, the underpinnings are the same. Honestly, I could take a subframe from a Mark II and a Mark III Focus and put it on my car. It's exactly the same. Anyway.
Wow. Interesting fact right there, everybody.
Exactly. You can't do that with a Vauxhall Vectra because most of them are rusty.
Actually, I'll have you know that the man below me has fitted a Vauxhall Vectra subframe to a Ford Puma. So, because that Ford Puma he put a picture up earlier used to be a Vectra challenge car. Yeah.
Do you know why he had to take the subframes and everything off, Nick? Because he came out to the garage.
It was rotten.
It was rotten. I've still got your brakes, actually.
He is a driving god, mind. Remember, lads, I'll do you a deal on a driving the barge. Oh, Ben, I love your Accord. That is a lovely car.
I'd love a go in that thing.
That would be good. There we go. So if you've got an old Honda, anyway, we'll move on from that. And it's time.
No, everyone knows I'm a sucker for a saloon car, so I'd love a go in this barge.
Yeah, absolutely fine. If he's got some spare body panels, superb.
Fuck you.
Nick Jackson, we're going to come back to you, my friend, because it is time for the partner photo. Have we got a video for this one, Steph, or not? I don't think we have we? No, we haven't. Okay. It's partner focus time, people.
No.
Absolutely nailed it. Nick Jackson, tell us about NJM Limited and what you guys have been doing this year.
Cool. Well, a little bit of history. Obviously, it's myself and Jamie Moore, which business partners in it. With a great team behind us. Basically, it all stemmed from us starting racing. I started in 2012, 13. I dragged Jamie into it in probably 14, 15 as our own hobby. And then 16 is when it was born, really. Got more official, obviously, as we've got more cars and built the company up together. This year, obviously, we've got a lot of KAs out. So we've got 2 Arrive and Drive KAs, 2 customer KAs. The picture shown on the screen is one of our customers' Fiestas, which is a full Arrive and Drive package, but his own car, along with the Sayets and Minis as well. So, yeah, it's sort of a good broad range for Track Day Trophy, Track Day Championship, Super Cup, and all them sort of MSV club level events, really.
Superb. Now, what's going on here, Nick?
It's a nice little trophy we won a couple of weeks back.
What was that? Would that be in the Super Cup in this? Let me just find the picture. Would that be in the MSV Super Cup in this lovely car?
It is, yes. So Ollie Pidgley and myself paired up last year to sort of learn the cars. It was more to help us as a team learn the setups, learn how the handling differences and etc. And sort of grow us into understand them more. Obviously, we walked away with a championship last year, which was quite good, and we thought we'd go back and defend it again this year. So, new car again this year, completely different setup. Okay, it's a Super Copa, but it's different suspension, a few added extras and things like that. But again, just learning how it all works, really.
Nice.
So, superb. So, moving forward, what are your plans?
Future plans, to be honest, is to try and sort of keep pushing these Super Copas, get them out a little bit more. Obviously, we're quite happy where we are at the moment. I think the other guys would agree with any Arrive and Drive team. You see a lot of them come and go, and a lot of the time it's from growing too fast. So we're quite happy where we are at the moment. We can still provide that good service and enjoy it at the same time. So yeah, it's sort of just sit where we are, enjoy it, have a grin on our face, make sure our customers have grins on our faces, most importantly, and yeah, go from there, really.
Awesome.
Superb. And of course, you'll see NJM as part of the Club Racing UK ambassador scheme, helping out our ambassadors, Amelia Vincent, Simon Court, and Daniel Cogswell as well. So keep an eye out for that. Well, saying that, you would have seen their logo somewhere at the Festival of Speed. Well, there we go.
Oh, there it is.
We've made it.
Made it.
You're on national television, people.
It's now been seen by hundreds of thousands of people.
There we go. So
rain some money on us.
I'll tell you what.
Advertisement.
To get that old adage, if there's a camera around, these two are like flies around shit. All right, they'll just magnate to it.
We do our best every year. And this year, hang on, sorry. It was so hot. That sun was red hot, and I was just stood there trying to get on camera with my hoodie on, just because it had all the logos on. But
the heat stroke was worth it.
Yeah. So it wasn't a leisurely picture on the camera, was it, Steph? It was like, I really need to take this jacket off. I need to take this jacket off now.
Roasted.
Yeah. At that point, he's looking down, contemplating his life ending if he doesn't get hydrated. Because as the chap being interviewed alludes to, he's got the shades on. It was fucking sunny out. It was a warm one.
Well, it's good old George. No, I was looking at my phone to make sure I had the logo on the camera.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't. I was just getting nudged saying, just stay there. Just stay exactly there. Do not move an inch. They're like, okay.
Oh, dearie me. Right, okay, moving on from that. It's competition time.
Oh.
We have got a video for that.
There you
go. Caught me off guard there, Rob.
Should we try again? Well, I'll tell you what. It's been sat in Stefan's window all evening. Gary's got one. You can't really miss these, can you?
Come on, Gary, get up.
No.
That's what she said.
I've already decorated mine. Look.
Yeah. So yeah, the competition is to win one of these.
I just
well,
need a
not one of them.
straw.
Yeah. Well, you've been told it's on its way. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah, it's on its way.
But for the competition,
We'll be showed off this weekend at Alton.
Good man. But for our competition for our members at the moment, so become a member on the Club Racing UK website. And if you're a member, you're automatically enrolled in all competitions. And we're giving away 3 of these bottles. But it will have our logo on it somewhere, but you can have whatever else you want on it. Your own logo, picture, whatever you want, whatever colour.
If you want a picture of our face on it,
yeah, we can stick it on there. It's not a problem. So yeah, all you've got to do is become a member and you can win one of those bottles.
and how do they become a member, Steph?
By heading to our website, which is on the bottom of the screen, rolling along somewhere. Hit on the members bit and become a member. It's either £20 for a whole year or £2 a month, so less than a coffee. You also get to go into our partners group of discount codes. So we got, I can't remember now, 30 plus of companies on board.
Over 35 companies now, aren't we? So.
All offering discounts and all the rest of it. And also get
priority social posting.
But if you are getting a drinks bottle, we have got a discount code we can give you now. So get on that. CRUK, Motorsport drinks bottle, and you'll get a bit of discount.
Yeah, you will.
I hope Gary used that, otherwise he's going to be a bit upset now, isn't he?
I bet he didn't. I bet he didn't.
We should have watched last podcast, shouldn't you, wanker?
Love it. Oh, I love it.
Superb. Well, there goes that Focus Cup drive, gents.
Oh, do you mean?
Superb. And what are the goings on with the Burkett Relay, Steph? Can you fill us in?
The Burkett Relay, where's the picture? Let me find it.
Yes.
So the Burkett Relay has just been announced that is live to book, but don't book, no. So if you're a company, we are going to run our own race within the Burkett Relay race on the scratch race. It doesn't mess with the Burkett race, that is its own separate thing. But if you enter through us, all the teams that enter through us, you'll have a company name with Club Racing UK as your team name. And whatever team wins on the scratch race, highest place from Club Racing UK, you win your entry fee back. But for companies, if you want extra exposure, come and speak to us. We can get you on. So you'll technically sponsor each individual team we enter with the branding as a team name, branded on the car. We've got My Supercar running all the behind the paddock action, which we can then add your adverts and all the rest of it in. So you have loads and loads of exposure. I think it works out 350,000 views over that event, plus all the social stuff we do behind the scenes to go with it. So as a company, get on board, come and speak to us, and we'll sort you out.
It's going to be huge because you'll also have the live stream. I think it's Alpha Live. We'll be doing the live stream for the whole event as well. So you'll be featuring in that as well. So plus for their viewing figures, it's going to be huge exposure available for your company if you would like it. And it's dirt cheap to have your own, to sponsor your own team. So just get in touch.
Come and speak to us, and we're sorting out loads of exposure for a very handy price. If you want to enter as a racer, as a driver, as a team, just again, come and speak to us. It doesn't cost anything. It costs exactly the same to enter the Burkett Relay. So it doesn't cost you anything more to come and race for us, but you do have the chance to win your entry fee. But as I say, it doesn't mess with the Burkett Relay race. So if you're racing for that for a reason, it doesn't alter that. So it just means that in the standing sheet at the end, whichever one's highest in the scratch race, you will win your entry fee back.
Yep.
Plus,
so you effectively could race for free at the Burkett this year,
and you get the same exposure as all the companies will.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. We're hoping we're going to be doing this for some years.
So
get on board, come and have a go at our pilot event. I think it'd be brilliant.
Exactly, and we're trying. Things are still rolling along, but we're going to hopefully have our own little prizes and all the stuff going at the garages and stuff behind the scenes anyway. So it should be a good laugh within the Club Racing UK team. So
Definitely.
come and speak to us for more info.
Steph, I've got to ask, are you trying to get your mini to last that one?
No.
No, we're not going to enter a team for that very reason.
Pretty much. I'm the same with the Focus, considering there's a TDC round 2 weeks afterwards. I'm like, no, if I kill it at the Burkett, maybe next year. But yeah. So, but yeah, by all means, if you've got a more reliable car that's not a podcast sponsor, Focus, or a Club Racing UK Mini, get yourself in there and get yourself with a chance to.
Boys, on, we should all merge together and we should get a KA team out there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the KAs being hit left, right, and centre by radicals?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
It's bad enough in a Puma. That's what I'm going to say. Been there, done that. Wasn't fun.
No.
Fair enough. Maybe don't take your KA then. Right, lads. All that ends with then is me to sort of say any other business, any shout outs you guys want to give. Go ahead. I assume that means no.
There's always a shout outs to the usual people that come and give their weekends to come and help us out and work for us and everything else. Without them, I can say all three of us would be either extremely tired and more knackered than we are, but more so we wouldn't be where we are without them.
Mm-hmm. Superb, guys, superb. And Carl, 100%. You guys are out this weekend, are you, Carl?
Yeah, we're out this weekend at Alton Park. So it's our second trip at Alton Park in as many weekends, and we've got our 7 weekends now back to back. So we've got Alton Park again, then Knock Hill, then Croft. No, sorry, Croft, then Knock Hill, then back to Alton Park, and then Thruxton. So
wow,
we're bang in the middle of a 7-week back to back.
Superb.
Then we get 2 weekends off, so you can't complain.
I think the Beatles referred to it as the magical mystery tour. So if you do see the Graves bus rolling around the country, be sure to beep and wave.
Yeah, make sure you give my old man and my dad a wave as you go by, because he always appreciates it.
Gary, obviously you're out with the Focus Cup at Alton next. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to all the guys at Focus Cup. I think Simon's listening and obviously Sarah and everybody. Those guys do a fantastic job. If it wasn't for them, especially with the 2-week turnaround from Cadwell, we just, oh man, I wouldn't like to think that. I think they've had 3 engine changes to do in 2 weeks. There's only 2 or 3 guys that work in the garage as well. So it's hats off to them guys. So really push the boat out to get the cars back up and running, and I think the transporters are loaded, ready to rock and roll in the morning. So
superb,
all good.
Superb. Before we come to Nick, Gary, I think Ben's in your garden, mate. Ben, never change, mate. Seriously, never change.
Cool. He'll have fun in my garden. I'll let him explain.
Nick Jackson, I'll come to you, mate. What's the plans for yourself over the next few weeks? Are you out racing or?
We've got a few track days next week, and I think the next outing we've got is the Silverstone Track Day Trophy and Super Cup, followed closely by Alton Park for the KAs and TDC that same weekend. So yeah, quite a busy one. Again, on the shout out side of things, as much as obviously me and Jamie are the faces of it, and that's who most of you know. We've got a big team behind us, and we wouldn't have been anywhere without them. We've got some loyal guys that have been with us since day one. So yeah, a massive thanks to them. Basically, they know who they are. I'm not going to go start naming them because there'll be a big old list. People that don't even get to circuit as well. But yeah, so it's down to them just as much as us. So
nice one. Good
work,
guys.
Fantastic. My thank you to everyone. One last comment from Ben Griffiths. DM me, hun. Too many snakes here.
love
Seriously.
the fact he stayed for the entire, short of 2 hours. He stayed.
Ben Griffiths of VTech Direct, we love you, mate. Keep watching, keep listening in.
Keep it coming.
As for this show, my thanks to our three guests tonight. From Graves Motorsport, it's Carl Graves. From GM Performance, it's Gary Mitchell. Nick Jackson of NJM Limited. We will see those guys out with their extremely professional race teams at a racetrack near you very soon. I've been your host, Robert Lewis, and the two goons beside me has been Nick Holmes and Stefan Marsh. Ben's come back. Cheers, mate. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Night, everyone.